So, Dominic Cummings is back. He's back to drain the swamp of the Whitehall machine and the bureaucracy in the UK system. We've seen stories recently with the changes that we are finally seeing in various departments, from the Foreign Office to especially the Home Office, where Philip Rotnam clashed with Priti Patel. He lost the battle, he resigned, and then a couple of weeks ago, the head of civil service as a whole got fired by the Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, and Dominic Cummings, essentially. And now we have a new department, a new target for Dominic Cummings, the Ministry of Defence. And rightly so, because these guys have been very complacent over the last few years. There's a lot of problems with it, and not just in terms of, since 2010, we had the budget cuts where they cut the actual front line. That was a bad idea. And since then, there are a lot of issues with admin and especially procurement process that has been very complicated, and there's no oversight. So let's have a look at this story. But before we do this, I apologize for yesterday. I was actually supposed to upload this yesterday, but for those of you who have a Virgin broadband, you know that the internet was down for most of us. So didn't have an internet, so I couldn't do it. So I'm back today. Let's do it. So this is according to the Sunday Morning Herald, talking about how Cummings is to drop in on Britain's most secret defence installations. Boris Johnson's controversial advisor, Dominic Cummings, is going to be visiting these highly classified national security sites as part of his plan to radically shake up the whole system. Now, according to the internal correspondence that these guys had with the Number 10 and the Prime Minister's office, apparently Dominic has requested the top 5 classified sites. That includes facilities that specialize in defense intelligence. Now, with everything that's happening with China and also the EU Defense Union, which is a stupid idea, and we're going to talk about that in this video, this is actually important to fix. Now, not everybody is happy, and it's not just bureaucrats and civil servants. You have some government ministers, including Ben Wallace, the defense minister, who's kicking off because he said that he doesn't want Number 10 or Dominic Cummings to directly liaise with these sites. He said that, they've said the Secretary of State does not wish anyone to engage Number 10 or Dominic Cummings on this. It is for the Secretary of State to engage in the first instance before delegating to officials. Now, I understand that centralization is not a good idea usually, but government ministers and civil servants, they've had a chance for years and years, especially in the Ministry of Defence, to do something about these problems. Nothing has been done. Hence why you need the shake-up. And it's not like Dominic Cummings is actually running the government. These idiots who think this, they're wrong. He got the order from Boris Johnson. And this is his mandate, whatever, whether you like it or not. Now, according to this document, Dominic Cummings has already visited Britain's domestic and overseas spy agencies, MI5 and MI6, already twice. And the upcoming sites are actually everywhere in the country. You've got Dorset, you've got Salisbury and other places. Now, when this came out, Twitter exploded. Let's have a look at some of the reactions on Twitter. There's got this person who's got #rejoiner, #climate-change, saying, SPAD, Special Advisor, an unelected advisor running the UK. Elect a politician to govern and get someone else in power. We are a banana republic. MPs, make noises, it's on your watch. I don't think they know how these things work. Like, prime ministers and ministers have always had advisors, and when Boris Johnson gives a task to someone like Dominic Cummings, he has to do it. It's not like Dominic Cummings is actually giving tasks to the prime minister. These are conspiracy theories. Stop it right now. Now, there's another person, pro-EU person. This makes me so angry. Cummings is no one. He's not even an elected MP, let alone PM. Except, of course, he is de facto. He's a curse on this country. And then finally, the Russian is coming. I know, right? What? So, because Dominic, when he was younger, he worked in Russia. Not for Putin, he just worked in Russia. That's what they think. So if you work in Russia, you're definitely working for Putin directly. Just so you know, that's basically how it works. And this is why you have these idiots, the European Union with their new EU Defence Union idea to rival NATO? We already have NATO, and then these guys have managed to get a lot of countries to agree, including Theresa May. Before she left office, she actually signed the agreement that, yeah, let's all cooperate. So this is also part of this shake-up, and hopefully people like Dominic Cummings have always been against these sort of ideas of centralization and central planning systems, because it just doesn't work. So hopefully we'll see a U-turn on this idea as well. We don't want the UK to be involved. We will work with our allies, especially in NATO, but this is a bad idea. It's not going to work, and it's not really workable anyway, because you're not going to get all these countries to fully agree. So this is what we have now. According to the Labour Party, Dominic Cummings doesn't have the clearance, but he does. Because until a couple of months ago, his security pass was different. Now it's actually changed. He does have full clearance, and he has access to confidential information, finally. He didn't have it from the beginning because there was no point, and that also proves that he's not actually in charge. He still has to go through the process. So the Labour Party could just calm down everybody. Now, Dominic has clashed with a number of people. We know this with previous Chancellor Sajid Javid. He resigned because Dominic Cummings wanted Number 10 to appoint his advisors. And also we had Philip Rotnam clashing with Priti Patel. He lost, he had to go. And Mark Sedwill, the head of civil service, had to get essentially fired. Initially, they told us that he's just resigning. He got fired. But also Simon MacDonald, the head of Foreign Office, also leaving in September. The shake-up is coming. Dominic Cummings is coming. And we'll have to wait and see in terms of how long it will take for especially Ministry of Defence to change, because the issues with defence is that, as the article talks about, Cummings has long been a critic of what he sees as defence waste, particularly when it comes to programs for procuring new equipment, which he has slammed as squandering billions of pounds and enriching some of the worst corporate looters and corrupting public life via the revolving door of officials and lobbyists. Now, MPs, their job is to scrutinise. They've failed. And now you have, this is according to Dominic Cummings himself. He said that a teenager will be able to deploy a drone from their smartphone to sink one of these multi-billion-dollar platforms. That's embarrassing. Such a teenager could already take out the stage of a Downing Street photo op with a little imagination and initiative. And yeah, it's embarrassing. Like, there are a lot of contracts that are being signed with these massive corporations, your so-called Tony Starks, with no actual scrutiny. And then you have the Chief of Defence, the Defence Force, Sir Nick Carter, who came to Parliament to explain, couldn't really explain exactly what's going on. You had Mark Francois, the Tory MP, actually coming back and saying that he warned Carter that Dominic Cummings would sort out the department in his own way if it did not address its blowouts in spending. Well, it's a big risk because these guys have failed. That means mainstream media are not concerned about this. The mainstream media are concerned about gossip and this sort of stuff. Trivial. This is the Mirror. This is the night before Rishi Sunak made his announcement yesterday, the new mini budget, and he was pictured with a techie coffee mug. Apparently, it's according to the headline, Tory Rishi Sunak poses with a £180 Bluetooth coffee mug as Britain braces for job losses. I don't know why this matters. This is the actual picture. This is the coffee mug. So apparently it has a USB sort of thing, and it keeps the coffee warm for hours and hours. I don't know what's that got to do with anything, because he gets paid a salary. His wife gets paid a salary. They also have separate savings. It's not like they stole the taxpayers' money to do this when people are losing their jobs. And I don't really care about your feelings if you're offended that, oh, that's an expensive coffee mug, whatever. This was a gift from his wife at last Christmas. Who cares? It's their personal life. If they had used the taxpayers' money in a direct way, like expenses, to do this, yes, I'll be kicking off too. But this is not a story. And the Mirror spent a lot of time talking about this drinking vessel, which is a travel mug made by Ember, who say that they make the world's first temperature-controlled mugs. They've done research. They actually wrote an article about this. They don't talk about the EU Defence Union. They don't talk about what's happening in the Ministry of Defence. They don't care. And even the BBC, they're not really concerned about any of this. I was on Trigonometry, the YouTube show with Constantine Kissing and Francis, talking about the mainstream media and their problems. And this is what I had to say. Let's watch a clip and then come back. So some people say the media are purposefully biased.
Some people would go like with actual conspiracy theories that, oh, they're obviously funded by obviously Marxists. I mean, if I'll find evidence, I'll be fine. But I would go with the fact that they are completely out of touch. The mainstream media, these organizations, whether it's the BBC or anyone, like even Sky, they are very, very proactive when it comes to diversity of, finding staff members who are like in a different skin color or different genders. But in terms of the diversity of thought or actual values, they're all the same. They've all gone to Oxbridge. They've all went to the same schools. They've all obviously went to private schools and boarding schools. They've all had the same kind of groups, and they all believe in the same things, which is essentially big government, the control freaks like nanny states, and it's difficult to be impartial if everybody in the organization believes in the same thing. And this is why I'm kind of against actually the concept of completely impartial news. I would rather have news outlets who are open about their biases of what they are, and like left, right, up, down, and everything, and people could obviously decide for themselves. You could still have a concept like the BBC, but if they become completely dry and just report, very boring, just give out the stats, like fact check or whatever. But obviously no one will watch it because it's not interesting. That's the problem with it.
Well, that's right. This is why, as I always say, what the government need to do, and they've already hinted, they need to, when it comes to the BBC especially, decriminalize the whole situation with people not paying their TV tax, and then obviously get rid of the whole model. Either make it subscription-based or make it private with ad-based. I don't care at this point. And ordinary people, stop paying your TV license. There's no point. Stop watching the BBC. You don't need to anymore. And get your t-shirts. We have a few days left. Defund the BBC, by definition, means cancelling your TV license and watching My Tousi instead. You could find the link in the description. Also, if you have been watching us and you've been enjoying the channel, we have I'm going to announce some really good plans in the next few days. Hopefully, we are expanding this whole operation. We're going to become an even more serious and more daily news show with different sort of programs as well. So stay up to date, and if you want to support this work, you could become a member of the channel. The link again is in the description, or you should just go on youtube.com/mytc/join. There will be a lot of perks and benefits, and we're going to add more perks and benefits, because right now we have obviously the members Q&A, we have the video podcast weekly, we have obviously the priority access to the members with everything, but we're going to add more to make it worthwhile. Apart from that, that's it for now. We're going to have another video today at 8 p.m. after this. Make sure to tune in on My Tousi. I'll see you guys in the next video.